All right, today we're going to talk about vectors. What are vectors? Of course, many of us in our sciences would have learned that vectors in physics simply can be defined as a quantity that has both magnitude and direction. So, by definition, vector is a quantity that has both magnitude and direction. So when I say magnitude, if I draw a line, for instance, look at this line, and I tell you that this line, the length of this line is 3 meters. This is also known as size, or you can call it magnitude. However, there is a direction from this. This is called the starting point. So if you move from this spot and you move from A to B, this point is called the terminal point. This is simply vectors. It has magnitude and it has directions. So today we're going to be talking about the vectors in mathematics, where we have to do some calculations. Let's cut to the chase. What are the coordinates of the points A, B, and C? You must understand the coordinate system for you to be able to do well in vectors. First, as you can see, the coordinate of A is on the x-axis, that represents 1, comma, on the y-axis, that is 2. And the coordinate of B is simply 1 on the x, but -1 on the y, as you can see. Trace it this way. And the coordinate of C, if you take this to the x-axis, as you can see, this is going to be -2, comma, and then you come to the y-axis. This is also what? -2. So these are the coordinates. Now, it says describe in words how to get from A to B. How do you get from A to B? Look at this. From A to B. We did not move horizontally. We only moved from A 2 steps down, or 3. Yeah, 3 steps down. So as you can see, A, no side movements. No side movements. You can call it no horizontal movement. So 0 horizontal movements. But we moved how many steps down? 3 steps down. So this is just normal descriptions. From B to C, from B to C. Okay, as you can see, this is B to C. How many steps did we go down? Just 1. So 1 unit down, and how many units to the left? 1, 2, 3. This is how you describe vectors. Pretty simple. So look at this. The coordinates, like I've written in the first place, you have 1, 2, 1, -1, -2, -2, and then, so you see, from A to B, moves that were made will be move 3 squares down, that's all. From B to C, move 3 squares left, and then 1 square down. Then move 3 squares right and 4 squares up. Pretty simple. The vector has both magnitude and direction, like I said from the beginning. Now look at this vector. From A to B, you have 3 squares to the right. And how many squares up? Just 2. You can represent a vector as a column vector. This is what we call the column vector. So let's say I draw this. And this is P. This is what? Q. From P to Q, my column vector will be, I have moved 2 steps to the right and then 2 steps up. So a column vector will simply be 2, 2. Kindly note, the 3 here is your x-axis, and then the 2 is your y-axis. So you need to take note of that. So that when you're given a question, you know that on the top part, you must write the x value, and then on the bottom part, you have to write the y value. So let's go to the next. Like I said, x gives the horizontal translation. Translation, just like you did in your transformation. Translation means you're just moving, you're sliding. So you're either sliding to the right or to the left of x. So if you're sliding to the right, it's just x. If you're sliding to the left, it's just negative x. But if you're sliding up, that is positive y, and then you're sliding down, that is negative y. So if you remember your Cartesian coordinates or your Cartesian plane, you have the y-axis, you have the x-axis. So this is going to be the negative x, this is going to be the negative y. So 5 units right, that's the meaning. This is 5 units right, 5 units left, and then no horizontal movement. That's what this means. Now, let's move on to some other things. It says, describe each vector in words. 5 right, 8 up, because it is positive, positive. And look at this. When it is negative, remember, you're going to the left. So you are 5 left, 8 up. Minus 5, 8, or minus 5 and minus 8 will be 5 to the left and then 8 down, because negative 8 is the negative axis for y. Now, I'll leave you to do this. You can pause the video, and when you try this, you tell me the vectors, then you play again to see the solution. Thank you. Now, for this vector, you're going how many squares? 1, 2. Up. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 to the right. What's the similarities? Is there any similarity? And what's the difference? Of course, both of them are vectors. You have 4 squares to the right, just like I did right now, and then you see 2 squares up. You also have 4 squares again, but this time around to the left, so that's the difference. And then 2 squares down. This is how you represent vectors. Okay, let's take a quick look at using and reading vector notations. So I've given you the notation. I said you can represent vectors as a column vector, x, y. This is a vector, whenever you see something like that. Now it says describe the vector in words. Write the column vector. So look at this vector. How do you describe this vector? Okay. This vector is moving how many? To the right, because this is the beginning point. Your arrow tells you the direction. So this is the starting point, and this is going to be your terminal point. So you move 1, 2, 2, and how many up? 1, 2, 3, 3 up. This is the column vector. So you move 2 steps right and 3 steps up. That is your description. And then as a column vector, that will be 2, 3. Now it says draw the vector -3, 4. So let's assume that this is your starting point. -3 will be 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, and then 4 up. 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can see, you have to connect a line from this place down to this place. So 3 to the left, 4 up. This is the vector. So, as you can see, it's pretty much simpler to represent vectors using the column vectors. For this one, if I ask you, the vector translated from B to A, what will be that vector? So the vector BA will be, now look at this. It's a setting, this is your direction. So you're going this way, 1, 2, and 3. That is -3. So you can see from B to A, the x-axis is -3, and you're going down, 1, 2, -2, down. So there's no big deal in vectors. You only need to understand how to represent them using the direction and then using the lines. So I could just draw a line for you and ask you to describe a vector that represents the line. That's it. Now look at this. It says true or false. Mn equals -5 and 2. So let's go. This is the starting point. From M, as you can see, the direction to N, that's the meaning from this part. So how many? Oh, 1, 2. Okay, so the Y part is 2. How many to the left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As you can see, that will be -5. Remember to always put the signs. Therefore, it is true. All right. The next, you can draw vectors given any figures. The points A, B, C, and D are shown on the grid. Add lines and arrows to represent each vector. So look at this. From A to B, this is the line. From B to C, this is the line. From C to D, this is the line. And then from D again to A, that's the line. Okay, so the vector AB, what is the vector AB? Vector BC, vector CD, vector DA. I will need you to tell me these vectors, and you can comment on the comment section to tell me your answers. I will reply. If you have any questions, you can also post your questions over there, and I will also reply. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video, where we'll have to solve questions on vectors and show you some exam techniques. When you see questions, how do you go about them in exams? Thank you.